you. Well, Julie, I'm just going to do a little introduction for everybody, okay? So, hi, everybody. I'm Julie Pennal. I'm the Recreation Coordinator at the Sir John Colborne Recreation Center. Welcome to Tuesdays with Julie and Nicole. Today, we are doing a recipe. If you're not live with us today, I hope you're catching this as a replay and you can enjoy maybe doing this in your own home. So if you hear me chatting, I'm chatting to some of our participants. And Julie, I'm so glad you're here. So what we decided to do for our Tuesdays with Julie and Nicole is to do maybe a different recipe or a craft, or maybe have a guest speaker. So I thought one of the things we might do is, if we're trying to get a little jump on our Christmas cooking, I'm not sure, I know, right? That's a terrible word, that Christmas word, because Christmas means winter to me. As much as I like the season, I don't love the season that it's in. So I'm going to make a really lovely cranberry chutney that can be made ahead of time. So are you a cranberry girl, Julie?
Not generally, but it can always change, try something new.
Excellent. Oh, look at that. Daniel has a pretty graphic for us. So the beauty of this recipe is that it can be done in the crock pot. So you just toss all of the ingredients right into your crock pot or slow cooker. And if you don't have a crock pot, that's okay, because I didn't want to drag out my giant crock pot. So I did it just on the stove. So it's very, very flexible. So I'll just give you a little peek at what I made last night. And I'll tell you, it's very delicious. In fact, I might have already had a couple of bites for my lunch. So you may want to try it, Julie.
You have to do a taste test.
I am going to do a taste test, and I'll try and be like the cooking shows where I don't talk with my mouth full, but I've been doing this now for a few months, and it's tricky to take the bite, talk about the bite, and not to show everybody what you're chewing on.
That sounds good.
Well, Daniel, if you wouldn't mind, will you just pop the recipe on the next slide for us? Julie, oh gosh, look at that. There's what we need. And Julie, I can always email this to you so that you don't have to write anything down. But I just happened to be at the grocery store last week and I saw fresh cranberries and I thought, you know what, I'm going to grab a couple bags because they're sometimes hard to find closer to the holiday season. In fact, this year when I was trying to do my stuffing, my cranberry sauce and my stuffing for my turkey, I couldn't get any cranberries this year, fresh ones. So I picked up a couple of bags. And where it says Gala apples, doesn't matter, whatever kind of apples you like or happen to have in the crisper. And then the orange, of course, I usually have an orange. Most of us have some brown sugar. And the only thing that might be an interesting recipe ingredient to some of you is crystallized ginger. So there is what my crystallized ginger looks like. It's hard to see because of the color, but there it is. It's just ginger. Oh, hello. Someone's joining us. It's just chunks of ginger, like candied ginger, essentially. And I actually always keep a little stock of it in my kitchen because I absolutely love it. Hi, Marie.
Just eat it as is.
I know, right? It is very delicious. Hi, Marie. How are you? You're on mute, my dear. Do you want to take yourself off mute? You're fine. Okay. We're just making a little cranberry recipe. We're going to talk about a few things that we can do ahead of time for our Christmas dinner if you're having turkey for yourself or your partner, maybe a small family gathering if that's allowed. So the ingredient list is on there right now. And I was just telling Julie, our other guest right now, about our crystallized ginger. And I actually, not always easy to find at the grocery store. So if you're looking for crystallized ginger, I often get it at the bulk barn. And I find that that's probably the easiest place to find it, and it's less expensive at the bulk barn. And as I was saying to Julie, I keep it in the house because I actually really enjoy a piece of it in hot water with some fresh mint leaves and a little bit of honey. It just makes a beautiful cup of sort of ginger lemon honey tea. And if you don't want to add the honey, you get a bit of the sweetness from the ginger and the fresh mint leaves. It's just absolutely delicious. So there's our recipe. Daniel, if you could pop to the next screen, it'll tell you a little bit about it. So it's very simple. As I was saying just a minute ago, Marie, all of the ingredients go right into your slow cooker. And I have a big slow cooker, like for a roast or a big pot of chili, and I didn't want to get that out last night. So I just did it in a stock pot, a small pot on my kitchen stove. And there is what we are going to be demonstrating today. So the ingredients you just saw, and this simmered for about an hour because I did more of a direct heat. And just once it's nice and sort of squishy, all your apples are squishy and your cranberries have burst, then you know you're good to go. I like my fruit with like a little bit of a bite to it still, so I don't cook it down right to a sauce. So now that I have my cranberries, oh, Daniel, he's predicting my next talk. Well done, Daniel. So there is our serving suggestion. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you actually a little bit about how I embellish with this recipe. So I have in front of me some phyllo dough, and I actually just grabbed this from the grocery store. I don't make my own phyllo dough because I am not part of the Great British Baking Show or, you know, Martha Stewart. So I just buy the package from the freezer section, and you let it defrost in the fridge before you use it. You need it to be pliable. And you also want to keep in mind when using phyllo dough that you keep a damp cloth. You don't want your phyllo to dry out or it kind of gets hard and it's not as delicious. So I'm just going to show you for the purposes of today. I'm going to roll this up, put it aside here. I've got some of our phyllo dough cut into sort of smallish squares, and I find that a serrated knife works best. And I'm hoping you can see what I'm doing here. I'm going to just cut my phyllo dough, these little guys, in half. And you want sort of 3 to 5 layers, depending on how thick you like it. I'm going to do 5 layers. And once you take your square, I've got a little mini muffin tin here, and I'm just going to pop it right inside my muffin tin. It's really hard to see, but there you go. So we'll do that a few more times. And then why I do this ahead of time is because these little bites are so delicious. They're great for a little lunch snack or a little tea snack if you're feeling a bit peckish. And they freeze really well, which I love. So we're just going to pop all of these right into our mini muffin tin, like so. Okay, I would obviously fill up all 12. And then one of my favorite things to use is brie cheese. If you're not a brie cheese fan, you could certainly use something like brie that's robust. You don't want something that's going to melt into a gooey mess because it will just make your little tartlets look kind of messy. So I've already, so you can see I've been into this brie wheel. I did make some ahead of time, but I might have also eaten some, just saying. So we're going to cut a little chunk off of our brie here. And really, there's not a measurement per se. You just want maybe like a little 1 by 1 square. And once you cut your brie up, then what we do is we just take a chunk of our lovely brie and we pop it sort of right into the middle of our phyllo dough, like so. This is such an easy recipe, really very simple. And once you have the chutney made, I do actually freeze my chutney. So if I want to make these quickly, I often have a brie wheel at home. I can just take out my chutney, take out a few layers of the pastry, and then I can very quickly make up a little appetizer. Now I know we're not having company so much right now, but this is a nice little thing to have on the hand if you just want your own snack. Or I'll sometimes bring them to work for lunch. Or if I'm popping by to see my sister, I'll take her a couple because they can be very easily warmed up, or you can eat them cold. They're just as good. And again, I'm not really a measurer. This is sort of a take on some other recipes that I've seen. So I've just put some brie and the chutney in with my delicious little phyllo. Now, a tip for this is that if you don't have phyllo or you find it fussy, you should really butter the edges so that they get nice and crispy. I don't necessarily find that you want the extra fat all the time, so I often don't because I find that the cranberry kind of softens up the edges, but it's up to you. But you could use Pillsbury crescent roll dough. You just take a couple of the triangles and roll them flat and cut a little square, pop it in. Or if you've ever seen those little tiny pre-made tarts in the bread section, they're kind of made of phyllo. They look like phyllo, but they're sort of shallow. you could use those too, because that's just as simple as doing this, whatever you prefer. Like, it's a very flexible recipe. So now, I've always wanted to be like Martha Stewart. I've always wanted to have my own cooking show. So thank you for indulging me. And look, by the magic of television, I'm already so these already, and you want to cook them at about 350 for anywhere to 8 to 12 minutes roughly. You'll know, you can see this one is particularly ooey and gooey. Some of that cheese kind of browned and got a little crispy, which is my favorite part. Now here's where I say, I'm going to try and take a bite and be polite. So let me see if I can do it. And you have to just pretend that you're eating along with me because they're very delicious. So excited. See, it's so hard to do and not see what's in my mouth. So that's recipe 1. So yummy, very, very easy. Now, going back to our recipe, I just want to tell you a couple little tips to give you some hints about this. When you're doing the crystallized ginger, it can be a little firm. So you want to have a good knife, and that helps. And sometimes what I'll even do is I'll take up a little bit of this crystallized ginger and I'll just cut it up really, really fine. And to give these little tarts an extra pop, I'll just put a tiny little bit of crystallized ginger that hasn't been cooked down right on the top. Just gives it a bit of a zing, because as I say, I love this. And then if you pre-chop your ginger and you have it in your cupboard and you feel maybe you have an upset tummy, it's a great thing to put in your tea. Now, I'm going to show you another little tool that I have. I know it's kind of hard to see, but like I said, I am kind of a wannabe cook. So this is a tool I've had for about 20 years. It's called a zester scorer. You can buy them in the kitchen stores. This comes from a company that I used to work for, but I want to show you how easy it is to zest. So here is the 5 little holes. You can see that. And what you want to do is you want to just very gently run it along your orange zest. And look at those lovely curls of zest that we just got. I know this can be kind of tricky to do with a zester. You really kind of make a mess and it gets all stuck to your big box grater. So I find, look at those perfect little lines. It's just so exciting. Aren't you excited? Now I have a little joke from when I used to teach cooking classes, and we're all adults, so I'm going to tell you this joke. It's a little bit cheeky, but do you know why the white part underneath the orange zest is called pith? Because it kind of tastes like pith. So rude. I hope that's not going to get me in trouble, Daniel. Anyway, I'm going to show you a few more just so you can see how easy it is to pull that zest off. Now that's if you just want to have little tiny curls, and you could, in fact, take one of those little curls and pop it right on top of your little tartlet just to make it oh, thank you, Marie, for saying it's beautiful. And if you want, you can put that in your water and your maybe a little glass of Sprite or 7-Up, or if you're having an iced tea, you can zest a little orange. But this little piece right here is called our zester, no, scorer. So it's going to give us a bigger line. So it's hard to see, but I'm going to dig that right into the orange and I'm going to pull back. And that just gives us a thicker piece of peel. Now you can see that definitely took out more of the zest. And I have a nice big thick piece of peel, which Martha Stewart would tie into knots and put on something fancy. I'm not that good. So this is good for garnishing maybe on your turkey or on the top of your cranberry sauce. I just thought I'd try and make it a little fun for you. So now if you were going to use this and you didn't want something so thick, a quick little dice up and you've got chopped peel ready to go. Okay, something kind of fun, something kind of easy. All right, so any questions so far, ladies?
I was pleased to see you using the zester, Julie, because it seems to me someone else was using it the other day, and I thought how good it is. I'm always struggling with the box grater.
It is.
I'm going to put that on my Christmas list.
Excellent. That's lovely to hear. Well, like I said, this one's really old, but I know you can find them at the kitchen stores or maybe even on Amazon. If you or your hubby or whoever's looking might find it on Amazon. They are great little things. And not all of them will have the zester and the scorer. So if you like that thicker piece, you might just want to check that it's got dual purposes.
Yeah, no, that's really good.
Good. Excellent. So that's recipe 1, our little tartlet bites. And like I said, these are going to freeze well. If you want to just tuck them into a little zippy and little small batches, you can always take them out, let them come to room temperature in the kitchen, or you could just pop them back in the oven for 5 minutes just to get them kind of crisped up again.
I was thinking when you were preparing the base, how you cut the phyllo pastry.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it looked like a good idea, and you could use it also as a mince pie, a mince tart.
Oh, absolutely. That's a great idea.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, something a bit different.
Yeah, and you know what? It's much easier than making your own pastry, and it's so simple. And a little tip too is I didn't bring it with me today, but if you have a pizza wheel,
yes.
A pizza wheel works really well on your phyllo because you don't get that ripping.
That's
which
right.
is why I find the serrated knife is best to cut your phyllo dough. It's just a little easier. And then I use a like a barbecue brush just for pastry, of course, but I use a barbecue brush to brush my butter. And they really say you should do every layer, but I find it can be a little bit much. So if I'm doing something that needs that sort of softening of the dough to give it that crunch, I do the edges, maybe of every layer, because your filling is in the middle, right? And I just find it gets to be too much. Is there anything so much is too much better? Well, I know, but our little waistline, we have to be somewhat careful, right? Okay, so that's recipe 1. Recipe 2, I just wanted to tell you that this is a really fast and easy way, is I would just cut a wedge of my brie, make it kind of attractive. Cut a little wedge like so. Put it on a pretty plate. Everything I have is white. That's why I pulled my green board here. And then I would top my brie with a little bit of the chutney. And I would serve that with crackers or maybe some fresh baguette. Now, if you like your brie kind of firm, just out of the fridge, you don't have to heat it up and you could do the same thing. Or this is actually my brie baker. And a wheel of brie fits perfectly in here. So I would put my wheel of brie in here and I pop it in the oven at about 300 for 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how melty you like your brie. Once it's the right consistency, if you like it really gooey, you can leave it for longer. Then I top it with this cranberry sauce and I serve it just in this little container with those little mini serving knives and a big piece of baguette and crackers all around. Or you can also put some fresh apple slices, fresh pear slices, and then you just dig into that ooey gooey brie with the cranberry chutney on top. It's
You're making me hungry.
that's the whole point, Julie. It's just scrumptious. So that's recipe number 2, just with our little chutney. And the third is not everybody likes brie. So I often have one of these little guys in my fridge because I enjoy cheese and crackers sometimes for supper. I live on my own, so I don't always want to make a big dinner. So the boursin or even a little log of goat cheese makes a lovely cheese accompaniment with this chutney. So you could just put a little piece of the brie cheese or the log of the goat's cheese, or you can open up your boursin. You see, I've been digging in already. It's very yummy. And actually, before I knew, I bought the cranberry pepper. So the cranberry pepper boursin with the chutney just makes a delicious combo. I may have sampled that last evening, just saying, to be honest. And then And then my final recipe is that I actually made chicken last night in the oven. I just put some chicken in to bake. And I took it out and I thought, oh, this is kind of boring. I was just going to have it with some veggies. And I thought I want to do something else. So I actually topped my chicken with the chutney and I put it back in the oven under the broiler for about a minute. And the cranberry kind of firmed up a little bit and got a little bit, not burnt, but, you know, crystallized from all the sugar and the brown sugar. Oh, it was so good. So, so good. Now, of course, you can serve it with your turkey dinner if you like turkey, but it's nice with ham. And it's really, really nice with pork chops or pork tenderloin. So when I was a little girl, my mom used to always serve pork with applesauce, which I still do today because it was sort of very traditional. And I thought it was fancy to have dessert with dinner because applesauce was often dessert. So I still will serve applesauce with pork tenderloin or a pork chop. But this is like a grown-up applesauce because of the cranberries and the ginger and the orange zest. So like I said, so versatile, really easy, and it's like 5 minutes to prepare and then just about an hour on the stove if you're not using your crock pot. Like really, really simple. So there's just a few little holiday recipes that you might want to put in your back pocket if you're deciding to do a few things. And because it freezes so well, I think it would be an easy one to make now and get out of the way. So there you have it. What was that, Julie?
In the freezer.
Yes, put it in the freezer and then you can just pop it out whenever you're ready for it. I put it in little Tupperwares so that I don't have to unfreeze the whole thing. I just take out like a half cup or a cup and then I use that till it's gone and then I'll take out another one. So it's a good one to have in your, like I said, in your back pocket. So there you go. Now, Miss Marie, I know you've been watching. You've got yourself on mute. Did you want to share any thoughts or have any questions? Oh, you're still on mute, my dear. You're still on mute. So at the bottom, you should see a picture of a microphone. And if you can just hit mute, there you go.
So can you hear me now?
Yes, we can, Marie. You're good now.
Okay. First foray into Zoom. That's why I'm sorry.
No, you're doing great. You're doing great.
This is it. Yeah.
I'm so glad you joined us.
So different, huh?
Yeah, well, it is. I know you've been enjoying our Without Walls call, so this is a chance to see our faces in person. Yeah. So that's always good.
So I was about to ask you, I was late for the recipe. Do you have that online? Can I have access to it?
Marie, do you have an email?
Yes.
Yes, I probably have it on file. When I go back to my desk, yeah, I'll email it to you and Julie so that you've both got it. Yeah. Happy to do that. Happy to do that. So basically, the next thing I was just going to share is that next week, Nicole will be here and she's going to make, it sounds kind of funny, but she said she's going to make a homemade Play-Doh that can be used, I think, to play with the grandkids. Play-Doh. Play-Doh.
Oh, Play-Doh.
Play-Doh.
Oh, for grown-ups?
For grown-ups. She did say it's for grown-ups, but I think it can actually be turned into a Christmas ornament. So I'm not sure if you could do that if you have grandkids or any little people in your life, or if you're
they're
crafty.
Not little anymore.
Not little anymore. Well, you never know. She said it's lots of fun, stress reliever. You could just squeeze it. Yeah. And something else that we're working on, just if you have anybody you know in your life or yourselves, we are looking at doing a Christmas dinner for everybody that wants to participate on December 25th. So one of our gals who is a caterer is going to do a beautiful hot turkey dinner with all the fixings, and they'll be available for sale up until the middle of December. And then on the 23rd of December, you can pick up the meal, take it home, and have it ready for you to enjoy either Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. And we're going to do a live Zoom call again on the 25th of December so that we can all sit together maybe and have lunch. I'm thinking that it will hopefully appeal to those of us who may be home alone, which unfortunately may be many of us. And I don't want to cook a big Christmas dinner for myself. That's not fun. So I'm excited to purchase a meal and have that with everybody on the 25th. So watch for details about that coming up. And I know, Marie, you've been enjoying our telephone calls every day. But if anybody needs a schedule for our Senior Centers Without Walls, please just let me know. And I'm so thankful that you were both here today. I hope you had a little bit of fun and learned something new.
Yeah, I learned how to use the Zoom.
That's the best part of the day. That's
Zoom.
perfect.
Yeah.
And Julie, this was Julie's first Zoom call today too, Marie. So I had 2 Zoom newbies, which is perfect. You did great, gals. I really appreciate you being here with me today.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. My pleasure.
So, Julie, you're going to be doing this every Tuesday?
You got it. It'll be either Nicole or I or both of us, depending on what's going on that week. And we've got a whole bunch of fun things planned. Nicole's going to be here next week, as I said. And the week after, we're having an essential oils demonstration. And I know, Marie, you may have heard that on the call a couple of days ago. But she's going to be able to show you the essential oils and how you use them and what their benefits are for cold.
Yeah.
So she's really excited to be able to show you the things that she uses to help us stay safe and healthy through cold and flu season, and for tummy upset, and for some cooking ideas and all kinds of fun things. So we have a bunch of fun things planned right through till Christmas, and there's Zoom programming every day of the week. So the same Zoom call like you just did today, you can do that Monday mornings, Monday afternoons, Tuesday afternoons, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So if you need help finding out more about that, you can let myself or Daniel know, because we would love to have you on as many of our calls, our Zoom calls, as you would like.
Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome, Marie. What was that, Julie?
I was going to ask you, as I said, I've not worked on Zoom before. So this time I had an email from you, I think it was, with the address to click
the Zoom link. Yep.
Link. And I think I registered and then followed all the information.
Yeah.
How would then I do it, say, next week?
So the beauty of this program, there's Daniel, the beauty of this program, Julie, is it's the same link every single week. So if you keep that email somewhere safe in your inbox, you can click that link every week. Or you can go on to oakville.ca. Daniel's going to show it to you right now. There's the page that gives you the link. You see the little button there that says go to Zoom? If you happen to lose your email, you can just click that go to Zoom button and it'll take you right to Daniel's magic page where he'll always be able to find you.
Right, yes. Okay.
Daniel, did you want to elaborate at all for the ladies?
No, I think you did a great job. Yeah, the only thing I guess I would say is the easiest way I like to explain to people of how to get to our virtual programs is simply searching virtual programs at the town's webpage. So if you visit oakville.ca and search virtual programs, or even on Google, you can search virtual programs Oakville, and that'll take you directly to this page. And then all you would do is just click go to Zoom where my cursor is over there to join before your preferred session. To see what other sessions are available, you just basically look at our virtual program schedule. So you can see Mondays, we have one of our music instructors from the Colburn Center, Diane, does a session on healthy living. George, who's another instructor from the Colburn Center, does virtual travel. You can obviously see you landed here. Tuesdays with Julie and Nicole. George does another session on Wednesday. We have some live cooking classes as well. Chair yoga. There's a whole variety of options. So certainly just by searching virtual programs Oakville and just hitting go to Zoom before any of the scheduled programs. So for example, today, Tuesday at 1:30, you just would go to Zoom and then you'll end up seeing me and I'll let you in.
Sounds good.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for joining me, everybody. It was lovely to see you and I really appreciate it. And have a great day.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you, Julie. You did a
You're
fantastic
very welcome.